B.Ed नोट्स विभिन्न राज्यों के सभी विश्वविद्यालयों के छात्रों और विभिन्न परीक्षाओं की तैयारी में सहायता के लिए तैयार किए गए हैं। कृपया लाइक, शेयर और कमेंट करें। B.Ed फर्स्ट ईयर पेपर 4 पेडागोजी ऑफ इंग्लिश यूनिट 4 जंक्चर। What is juncture? In phonetics and phonology, juncture refers to the way sounds are joined together or separated in speech. It is the link or boundary between two words or syllables that can affect meaning, rhythm, and clarity. In simple words, juncture is the pause or connection between sounds or words that helps us distinguish between different meanings in spoken language. For example, ice cream versus ice cream. Though they sound similar, the juncture between I and scream is different from ice and cream, helping listeners understand which phrase is meant. Importance of juncture. Helps clarify meaning in spoken English. Aids in word boundary recognition. Essential for fluency and intelligibility. Affects intonation, rhythm, and connected speech. Types of juncture in English, with examples. Juncture can be classified into the following types. 1. Close juncture, also called normal transition. Definition: there is no noticeable pause between sounds or words. Sounds are closely connected, often within a word. It represents normal speech flow. Examples: blackboard blk.bd. Said as one word, no pause. Not at all nttl. Reduced and smoothly connected. 2. Open juncture, also called plus juncture. Definition: there is a short, clear pause between words or syllables. Used to separate distinct words. Helps distinguish between similar sounding phrases. Examples: ice cream versus ice cream. Ice cream open juncture, to separate words. Ice cream close juncture, compound noun. An aim versus a name. An aim any aim. A name any aim. Types of juncture in English, with examples. 3. Terminal juncture, also called final juncture. Definition: the change in pitch or intonation that occurs at the end of a sentence or phrase. It indicates the type of sentence, statement, question, command, etc. There are 3 main types of terminal juncture. A. Rising juncture. Occurs at the end of yes-no questions or to show uncertainty. Pitch rises at the end of the phrase. Examples: are you coming? Is this your book? B. Falling juncture. Occurs at the end of statements, commands, or WH questions. Pitch falls at the end of the phrase. Examples: I'm going home. What is your name? C. Rising falling juncture. Used in lists, contrasts, or to show surprise emphasis. The voice rises and then falls on the same word or sentence. Type. Summary table of juncture types. Type of juncture description examples. Close juncture, no pause between sounds, blackboard, not at all. Open juncture, short pause to separate words, ice cream versus ice cream. Rising terminal juncture, pitch rises, yes-no questions, are you ready? Falling terminal juncture, pitch falls, statements, WH questions, he left early. Rising falling juncture, pitch rises and falls, emotion, surprise, really? You did what? Internal juncture, pause within a sentence, clauses, after dinner, we walked. Why should learners study juncture? To avoid misunderstandings in conversation. To sound more natural and fluent. To understand native speakers better, especially in fast speech. To improve intonation, pronunciation, and connected speech skills. Final thought. Juncture is like punctuation in speech. It tells the listener where words or ideas begin and end, even when the words sound similar. Mastering juncture helps you speak clearly, understand better, and communicate effectively. Intonation. What is intonation? Intonation refers to the rise and fall of the pitch of the voice when speaking. It is one of the most important suprasegmental features of speech, along with stress, rhythm, and juncture, and it helps convey meaning, emotion, attitude, and sentence type in spoken language. In simple words, intonation is the melody of speech. Just as music rises and falls, so does your voice when you speak. This change in pitch can completely alter the meaning of what you are saying, even if the words stay the same. Types of intonation in English. There are 4 main types of intonation patterns in English. 1. Falling intonation. What it is? The pitch of the voice falls at the end of the sentence. Commonly used in statements, commands, WH questions, confirmations, finished thoughts. Examples. She's going to the market. What's your name? Sit down. Function. Indicates certainty, completeness, or finality. Rising intonation. The pitch of the voice rises at the end of the sentence. Commonly used in yes-no questions, uncertainty, surprise, incomplete thoughts, asking for confirmation. Examples. Are you ready? Do you like pizza? Maybe we should go now. Function. Indicates incompleteness, uncertainty, or a question. Summary table, types of intonation. Type pitch pattern used in example. Falling ends with a drop statements, commands, WH questions. Where are you going? Rising ends with a rise yes-no questions, uncertainty. Do you like it? Rising falling rises then falls polite requests, suggestions. Would you like tea? Falling rising falls then rises hesitation, doubt, partial agreement. I suppose so. Use of intonation in communication. 1. Expressing emotions and attitudes. You did that? With rising intonation, surprise. You did that. With falling intonation, confirmation. Though indicating sentence type. Rising question. Falling statement. Rising falling suggestion. Falling rising uncertainty. 3. Highlighting new or important information. I wanted tea, not coffee. Stress and intonation together focus on tea. 4. Managing conversations. Falling intonation signals end of a term. Rising signals you want to continue or ask something. Falling rising indicates hesitation, possibly inviting a response. Teaching or practicing intonation. Method activity example. Listening practice. Use audio dialogues and ask students to identify intonation patterns. Echo reading. Teacher reads a sentence, student repeats with same intonation. Role plays. Practice real-life conversations with appropriate intonation. Visual arrows. Use symbols while writing sentences to mark pitch movement. Song lyrics or poems. Analyze rising and falling patterns in songs or rhymes. Dialogue completion. Fill in sentences with appropriate intonation patterns. Final thoughts. Intonation is not just how you say something, but what you really mean. It can turn a statement into a question, express your attitude, or even change the meaning of a sentence entirely. Mastering intonation helps learners sound more natural and fluent, avoid miscommunication, improve listening and speaking skills. Pattern and their implications. Patterns and their implication refer to recurring structures, behaviors, or trends observed in data systems or environments, and the meanings, consequences, or actions that arise from identifying those patterns. Let's break this down in detail. 1. What are patterns? Definition. A pattern is a repeatable or predictable form, structure, or behavior. Patterns can appear in various domains: nature, mathematics, programming, social behavior, business trends, and more. Pattern and their implications. Type, description, example. Visual patterns, repeated shapes, colors, or arrangement styling on a floor. Mathematical patterns, number sequences, or formulas that follow a rule Fibonacci sequence. Behavioral patterns, recurring actions or decisions by individuals, groups, customers buying more on weekends. Design patterns, best practices or solutions to common problems in design. Singleton pattern in software design. Data patterns, trends or anomalies in data sets. Seasonality in sales data. Linguistic patterns, regularities in language use, subject-verb-object structure. Natural patterns, biological or environmental regularities, animal migration or leaf arrangement. Pattern and their implications. Description. Example. Type. Visual patterns. Repeated shapes, colors, or arrangements. Tiling on a floor. Visual patterns. Mathematical patterns. Number sequences or formulas that follow a rule. Fibonacci sequence. Mathematical patterns. Behavioral patterns. Recurring actions or decisions by individuals, groups. Customers buying more on weekends. Behavioral patterns. Design patterns. Best practices or solutions to common problems in design. Singleton pattern in software design. Pattern and their implications. Though, what are implications? Definition. Implication refers to the consequence, significance, or inference drawn from the existence of a pattern. Forms of implication. Predictive implication. If a pattern continues, what will likely happen next? Diagnostic implication. What does this pattern tell us about the underlying system or cause? Prescriptive implication. What action should be taken based on the pattern? Strategic implication. How should a business, policy, or individual respond? 3. Patterns and their implication. Combined understanding, step-by-step understanding. Observation. Identify recurring elements or behaviors. Example, sales increase every December. Recognition of the pattern, understand its structure, frequency, or logic. Example, sales spike during the holiday season annually. Analysis, evaluate why the pattern exists and its consistency. Example, holiday shopping behavior causes this spike. Draw implications. Predictive, prepare for a sales increase next December. Prescriptive, stock up inventory in November. Strategic, launch marketing campaigns before December. 4. Real-world examples. A. Business analytics. Pattern, users abandon shopping carts after adding products. Implication, the checkout process may be too complicated, simplify it to reduce abandonment. B. Climate science. Pattern: rising average global temperatures over decades. Implication: evidence of climate change requires policy change and sustainability efforts. C. Education. Pattern: students perform poorly in a specific exam section. Implication: the teaching method or material may need revision for that topic. 5. Importance of recognizing patterns and implications. Better decision-making enables informed choices. Proactive strategies anticipate future events or behaviors. Problem diagnosis: understand root causes. Innovation: spot opportunities for improvement or new solutions. 6. Risks and misinterpretation. While patterns can be powerful tools, incorrectly interpreting them can lead to poor outcomes. Risks: false patterns, apophenia, seeing patterns where none exist. Overgeneralization, applying a pattern too broadly. Ignoring context, not considering external factors that influence the pattern. Pattern and their implications. Element explanation. Pattern: a repeated or predictable structure or trend. Implication: the meaning, consequence, or action based on the pattern. Why it matters: helps in making predictions, decisions, and strategies. Be cautious: patterns need to be validated and interpreted in context. Materials and resources for developing the listening and speaking skills. History of the art of telling, storytelling. The art of storytelling is one of the oldest forms of human communication, dating back thousands of years. It has evolved from oral traditions to written, visual, and digital forms. 8. Origins of storytelling. Prehistoric era. Cave paintings, e.g., Lascaux, France, 3000 BCE, show that early humans used visual storytelling to communicate ideas, events, and beliefs. Oral stories were likely passed down generationally, preserving knowledge, traditions, and survival tactics. Ancient civilizations. Sumerians, Mesopotamia, recorded stories like the Epic of Gilgamesh, though 1000 BCE, one of the first written literary works. Egyptians, Greeks, Indians, and Chinese developed rich storytelling traditions through myths, epics, and religious texts. Example: Homer's Odyssey, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Taoist parables. Middle Ages. Storytelling served both entertainment and education, often in religious or moral contexts. Minstrels, bards, and griots told oral stories with music and drama. Print revolution, 15th century. Gutenberg's printing press made written stories widely available. Materials and resources for developing the listening and speaking skills. Fables, folktales, and moral tales, e.g., Aesop's fables, became tools for teaching children. Modern and digital era. The 20th and 21st centuries introduced film, radio, television, and interactive media as storytelling platforms. Today, storytelling includes podcasts, video games, social media, and AI-generated narratives. Benefits of storytelling in education. Storytelling isn't just entertaining. It's a powerful educational tool with cognitive, emotional, and social benefits. It enhances understanding and retention. Stories make abstract concepts concrete by placing them in real-world or relatable contexts. They activate multiple parts of the brain: emotions, imagery, memory, improving retention and recall. Example: teaching physics through the story of Isaac Newton and the apple. 2. Develops critical thinking and imagination. Listening to stories encourages prediction, inference, and questioning. Helps learners connect dots, see cause-effect relationships, and imagine alternative outcomes. And supports non-native speakers. Applications in education. Area example. Literacy story-based reading and writing exercises. Science storytelling to explain natural phenomena or discoveries. History narratives of historical figures, events, and cultures. Mathematics math problems wrapped in story contexts, word problems. Moral education fables or real-life stories teaching ethics and values. Language learning using folktales from different cultures to teach new languages. Conclusion. The history of storytelling is deeply tied to the evolution of human communication and education. In classrooms today, storytelling remains a powerful pedagogical tool, offering benefits far beyond memorization. It shapes thinking, builds empathy, fosters curiosity, and brings learning to life. Reading skill. Reading is the complex cognitive process of decoding symbols, letters, words, and punctuation to derive meaning. It involves multiple systems in the brain working together to convert written text into language-based understanding. Reading is not a natural human skill. We are biologically wired to speak, but reading must be taught and learned. Mechanics of reading, a detailed breakdown. Reading can be understood through several interconnected processes. 1. Visual processing. Goal: recognize written symbols, letters and words. The eyes scan the text in small, rapid movements called saccades, stopping briefly at fixation points to take in groups of letters or words. Light reflecting off the page enters the retina, where photoreceptors, rods and cones convert it into neural signals. Signals are sent through the optic nerve to the visual cortex in the occipital lobe. The visual word form area VWFA. In the left fusiform gyrus specializes in identifying familiar letter patterns and whole words. Reading skill. Orthographic processing. Goal: interpret the visual input as language-based symbols. The brain translates visual shapes into graphemes, the smallest units of writing, like letters or letter clusters. It distinguishes between similar shapes, e.g., B versus D or M versus N. Spacing and punctuation help segment text into units like words, phrases, and sentences. Teen phonological processing. Goal: map graphemes, letters, to phonemes, sounds. Especially important in alphabetic systems like English. This process is key to decoding unfamiliar words. For example, recognizing that CAT maps to KAET. Phonemic awareness is the ability to hear, identify, and manipulate sounds in words, crucial for early readers. 4. Morphological processing. Goal: recognize roots, prefixes, and suffixes. Helps with understanding the structure and meaning of complex words, e.g., unhappiness, un plus happy plus ness. Enables efficient vocabulary expansion and comprehension. Reading skill. Semantic processing. Goal: derive meaning from words and sentences. The brain accesses stored vocabulary and world knowledge to assign meaning to individual words and their combinations. Semantic processing happens in parts of the temporal lobe, e.g., vernix area. For example, interpreting "the cat sat on the mat" involves understanding what each word means and how they relate. 6. Syntactic processing. Goal: understand grammar and sentence structure. Determines how words function together in a sentence, subject, verb, object, etc. Syntax affects meaning, the dog chased the cat chased the dog. Relies on Broca's area in the frontal lobe. Sat, working memory attention. Goal, hold information in mind long enough to make sense of it. Reading requires working memory to retain what was just read while processing new information. Selective attention is used to focus on text and ignore irrelevant stimuli. This is especially important for comprehending longer or complex texts. Art, integration and comprehension. Goal, build a coherent mental model of the text. Readers use prior knowledge, context, and inference to make sense of the material. Comprehension involves predicting, questioning, and summarizing during reading. Good readers constantly integrate new information with what they've already read. Metacognition, reading monitoring. Goal, reflect on and regulate reading. Involves being aware of your understanding. Skilled readers notice when comprehension breaks down and use strategies to fix it, e.g., rereading, looking up words, slowing down. Summary of key processes. Brain area function in reading. Visual cortex, initial visual input processing. Visual word form area, VWFA, recognizes letters and familiar word patterns. Angular gyrus integrates visual, auditory, and semantic info. Broca's area, syntax, grammar, and articulation planning. Wernicke's area, word meaning and language comprehension. Prefrontal cortex, working memory and attention regulation. Summary of key processes. Process description. Decoding, mapping written symbols to sounds. Fluency, reading with speed, accuracy, and proper expression. Vocabulary, knowing the meanings of a wide range of words. Comprehension, understanding and interpreting what's read. Critical thinking, evaluating and analyzing the text. Writing skill. Writing is the process of producing symbols to communicate thoughts, language, and meaning. Like reading, it's not innate, writing must be taught and practiced deliberately. The act of writing involves a complex interaction between cognition, language processing, fine motor skills, and orthographic knowledge. Below is a detailed explanation of the mechanism of writing and how beginners should be introduced to it. Part 8, the mechanism of writing. Writing includes both mental and physical components. A. Cognitive and linguistic processes. A. Idea generation. Before writing begins, the brain retrieves ideas from memory, experience, imagination, or external stimuli. Involves prefrontal cortex, planning, temporal lobes, semantic memory, and parietal lobes, spatial and visual input. B. Language formulation. The brain translates ideas into linguistic structures, words, phrases, and sentences. Uses lexical retrieval, finding the right words. Syntactic processing, grammar and sentence construction. Morphological processing, understanding word roots, prefixes, suffixes. Orthographic encoding. Once words and sentences are formed mentally, they must be encoded into written symbols, letters or characters. This includes spelling knowledge, letter sequencing, punctuation and capitalization rules. Though motor execution, transcription. A. Motor planning. Brain plans the fine motor actions needed to form each letter or symbol. Handwriting or typing requires motor schemas for shape, size, and sequence of strokes. B. Fine motor control. Muscles of the fingers, wrist, and arm are coordinated to produce legible marks. Involves the motor cortex, cerebellum, and basal ganglia. C. Eye-hand coordination. Visual system guides the hand to place letters in appropriate spatial relationships on the page or screen, necessary for correct line orientation, spacing, and alignment. D. Feedback loop. Visual and tactile feedback helps adjust pressure, shape, and alignment during writing. Auditory feedback is also involved when spelling words phonetically. Writing skill. Part 2. How beginners should be initiated into writing. Writing instruction should be systematic, scaffolded, and multisensory, especially in early childhood or for struggling learners. Stage-by-stage writing development. Stage 1 Pre-writing, ages 3-5. Goal: build foundational motor and language skills. Activities: drawing, scribbling, and tracing shapes and lines. Strengthening hand muscles with clay, scissors, or lacing cards. Exposure to print in books and environment. Practice name writing or letter-like forms. Focus. Directionality left to right. Holding writing tools, tripod grip. Understanding that marks can represent ideas. Writing skill. Stage 2 Letter formation and alphabet knowledge, ages 4-6. Goal: teach correct letter shapes and names. Activities: tracing letters, sandpaper letters, air writing, finger tracing. Copying and eventually writing letters from memory. Singing alphabet songs and matching sounds to letters. Best practice. Start with uppercase letters, easier motorically than lowercase. Emphasize stroke order and direction, top-down, left-right. Use lined paper to guide size and alignment. 3-stage sound letter correspondence and spelling, ages 5-7. Goal: learn to write words by mapping sounds to letters, phoneme-grapheme mapping. Activities: stretching out words to hear sounds, e.g., CAT. Word families and spelling patterns, e.g., at ing. Word building with letter tiles dictation exercises. Emphasis: phonemic awareness. Common phonics rules. Invented spelling is acceptable at first, conventional spelling is refined over time. Writing skill. Stage 4 Sentence writing and simple composition, ages 6-8. Goal: move from words to structured sentences. Activities: sentence starters, e.g., I like to. Sentence scrambles and reconstruction. Journaling or writing about pictures. Use of graphic organizers to plan thoughts. Skills taught. Capitalization and punctuation. Spacing between words. Subject-verb agreement. Combining simple ideas into compound or complex sentences. Stage 5 Paragraphs and writing fluency, ages 7-10. Goal: organize thoughts into logical sequences and write independently. Instruction focus. Paragraph structure, topic sentence, details, closing. Transitional words, first, next, then, finally. Revising and editing for grammar, clarity, and mechanics. Vocabulary development and varied sentence structures teaching tips for beginners. Writing skill. Strategy description. Multisensory methods use sight, visuals, sound, phonics, touch, tracing, and movement, air writing to reinforce skills. Modeling and think alouds teachers model how to form letters and generate ideas while verbalizing their thought process. Scaffolding gradually reduce support as students gain independence. Start with tracing, move to copying, then writing from memory. Frequent practice daily short writing sessions improve muscle memory and fluency. Positive reinforcement celebrate effort and progress, not just correctness, to build confidence. Use technology thoughtfully. Typing can support students with motor difficulties, but handwriting should still be taught. Dysgraphia, difficulty with handwriting, spelling, or organizing ideas on paper. Fine motor delays, weak pencil grip, poor control. Language disorders, struggles with vocabulary, grammar, or sentence structure. Lack of confidence, writing anxiety can impede willingness to try. Early identification and support can prevent long-term struggles. Summary: writing thinking plus language plus motor skills. Component role: cognition, idea generation, organization, planning. Language, word choice, grammar, syntax. Orthography, letter and word spelling knowledge. Motor skills, handwriting, typing, spatial organization. Feedback systems, adjusting based on visual, tactile, auditory input. Reading aloud, silent, extensive and intensive. What is extensive reading? Definition: extensive reading refers to reading large amounts of text for general understanding and pleasure, often outside the classroom. The goal is to improve reading fluency, vocabulary acquisition, and overall language exposure in a natural way. Key features: focus is on meaning, not language analysis. Texts are usually easy or at the learner's level. Students often choose what they want to read: books, articles, stories, etc. Silent reading is common. Encourages reading fluency, confidence, and motivation. Reading is not tested intensively. Examples of materials: graded readers, children's books, novels, magazines, online articles. Reading aloud, silent, extensive and intensive. Though, what is intensive reading? Definition: intensive reading involves close, careful reading of shorter texts with a focus on detailed understanding, language structure, and reading strategies. Key features: focus on form and content, grammar, vocabulary, text structure. Texts are often challenging or slightly above the learner's current level. Often used for teaching reading skills and language awareness. Usually done in the classroom with teacher support. Involves dictionaries, note-taking, discussion, and comprehension questions. Reading is analyzed and discussed. Examples of activities: reading comprehension exercises, grammar and vocabulary analysis, translation or summarization, answering detailed questions about a text. Reading differences in teaching, intensive versus extensive reading. Aspect: extensive reading, intensive reading. Purpose: develop fluency, love of reading, general language exposure, develop accuracy, comprehension skills, vocabulary, and grammar. Text length: long texts or full books, short texts, paragraphs, or passages. Text difficulty: at or below students' current level, easy texts, slightly above level or more challenging texts. Student choice: student selects what to read, teacher assigns specific texts. Focus: general understanding and enjoyment, detailed understanding and language analysis. Classroom time: often done outside class or as independent reading done during class time. Teacher role: guide, motivator, resource, instructor, explainer, controller of reading tasks. Follow-up activities: book reports, summaries, reading logs, comprehension questions, vocabulary exercises, discussions. Reading style: silent, fast, uninterrupted reading, slow, careful, sometimes aloud or with group discussion. Use of dictionaries minimal, to encourage flow, frequent, to understand meanings and structures. 4. Summary. Extensive reading builds reading fluency and motivation through quantity and enjoyment. Intensive reading builds reading accuracy and language competence through focus and analysis. Teaching intensive reading is more controlled, analytical, and teacher-led. Teaching extensive reading is more student-centered, relaxed, and focused on fostering lifelong reading habits. Characteristics of reading. Reading for detail is a specific reading strategy focused on understanding and analyzing small, specific pieces of information within a text. Here are the main characteristics. 8. Close attention to information. Readers carefully examine specific facts, dates, names, definitions, or explanations. Skimming or scanning is avoided in favor of slow, deliberate reading, though understanding exact meaning. Focus is placed on precise wording, including vocabulary, grammar, and sentence structure. Involves interpreting meanings of phrases or clauses within their exact context. Teen identification of supporting details. Readers look for supporting evidence that backs up main ideas, e.g., examples, statistics, quotes. Ability to distinguish between main ideas and detailed information is crucial. 4. Answering specific questions. Often used to find answers to WH questions: who, what, where, when, why, how. Readers locate and extract specific answers from the text. 5. Inference based on details. Sometimes requires reading between the lines to infer information based on provided details. 6. Focus on text features. Attention is paid to punctuation, italics, bold text, and other formatting that may highlight important details. Charts, graphs, and footnotes are also examined when present. 7. Useful for academic and technical reading. Especially important in reading textbooks, instructions, legal texts, or scientific articles. Helps in retaining factual and procedural information accurately. What is thesauruses? A thesaurus, plural, thesauruses or thesauri, is a reference book or digital tool that lists words grouped together by similarity of meaning, synonyms, and sometimes by opposite meaning, antonyms. Example, for the word happy, a thesaurus might list synonyms: joyful, cheerful, glad, delighted. Antonyms: sad, unhappy, miserable. Importance of a thesaurus in education. A thesaurus plays a valuable role in education, especially in developing language skills. Here's why it's important. 8. Improves vocabulary. Helps students learn new words and expand their vocabulary. Offers alternatives to commonly used words, preventing repetition. Example, instead of writing nice repeatedly, students can use words like pleasant, charming, or kind. Both enhances writing skills. Encourages creative and varied expression in writing. Students learn to choose words that are more precise or powerful for their intended meaning or tone. 10. Supports reading comprehension. When students encounter unfamiliar words, a thesaurus can help them find simpler synonyms they already understand. The use of dictionary. A dictionary is a reference book or digital tool that contains a list of words in alphabetical order. It provides information about each word, including its meaning, pronunciation, part of speech, spelling, and sometimes word origin, etymology, and example sentences. Uses benefits of a dictionary. The use of dictionary. 1. Improves vocabulary. Helps learners understand new words and their meanings. Introduces correct usage through example sentences. 2. Corrects spelling. Shows the accurate spelling of words, which helps avoid mistakes in writing. 3. Teaches pronunciation. Provides phonetic symbols or audio to help pronounce words correctly. 4. Explains word forms. Tells the part of speech, noun, verb, adjective, etc., and other forms of the word, e.g., run, runs, running. 5. Clarifies word usage. Gives example sentences to show how a word is used in context. 6. Helps in translation, bilingual dictionaries. Bilingual dictionaries help students understand words in their native language. 7. Encourages independent learning. Students can look up words on their own without always asking the teacher. Conclusion. A dictionary is an essential tool for students and learners of all ages. It helps in reading, writing, speaking, and listening by providing accurate word knowledge. Using a dictionary regularly builds confidence and improves overall communication skills. The encyclopedia. An encyclopedia is a reference book or online resource that provides detailed information about a wide range of topics. These topics can include history, science, geography, famous people, animals, technology, and more. Encyclopedias are usually arranged alphabetically or by subject. Articles are often long and detailed, written by experts. Some well-known encyclopedias include Britannica, World Book, and Wikipedia Online. Uses benefits of an encyclopedia. Gives in-depth knowledge, provides full explanations, facts, and background about a subject. Helps with research and projects, useful for writing school assignments, essays, or preparing for exams. Covers a wide range of topics, contains information from many different fields in one place. Reliable and fact-based articles are often reviewed by experts, making the information trustworthy. Encourages curiosity and learning, helps students explore new topics and learn independently. Difference between dictionary and encyclopedia. Feature dictionary encyclopedia. Purpose tells the meaning, spelling, pronunciation, and usage of words, gives detailed information about topics or subjects. Content type focuses on individual words, focuses on concepts, topics, and ideas. Length of entries usually short and to the point, usually long, descriptive, and detailed. Examples: Oxford Dictionary, Cambridge Dictionary, Britannica, Wikipedia, World Book. Use: helps with language and vocabulary, helps with knowledge and research. Conclusion. A dictionary is useful for understanding the meaning of words, while an encyclopedia helps you learn about topics in detail. Both are important educational tools, but they serve different purposes in learning and research. Stages of writing skill. Writing is a fundamental skill in education that develops in stages. Experts such as Freeman, Marian Richardson, and Alfred L. Lefevre have contributed to the understanding and teaching of writing skills, especially in the early stages. Stage 1: Training of penmanship. Penmanship refers to the skill of writing neatly and legibly by hand. This stage focuses on correct posture and pencil grip, formation of letters and numbers, spacing, alignment, and rhythm in writing. Marian Richardson, a British educator, emphasized pattern-based writing and developing rhythm in handwriting. Freeman supported structured handwriting drills for developing motor control and letter formation. Purpose: to develop fine motor skills and build the foundation for future writing tasks. Stages of writing skill. Stage 2: letter writing. After mastering handwriting, students learn structured writing, starting with letters. This stage teaches types of letters, formal and informal. Format: heading, salutation, body, closing and signature. Tone and clarity in communication. Alfred L. Lefevre, an American educator, emphasized teaching writing as a process and encouraged clarity, organization, and purpose in early letter writing. Purpose: to help learners communicate effectively and practice real-life writing skills. Stages of writing skill. Educator contribution. Freeman focused on systematic handwriting drills and physical writing skills. Marian Richardson promoted rhythmic and natural handwriting, emphasizing patterns and expression. Alfred L. Lefevre advocated for structured writing instruction and clear communication. Process of writing. The process of writing typically involves several key stages. While every writer develops their own workflow, here is a general step-by-step process that can be applied to most forms of writing: academic, creative, professional, or personal. 1. Pre-writing, planning and preparation. This is the brainstorming and planning phase. Understand the purpose. Why are you writing? To inform, persuade, entertain. Know your audience who will read this. Choose a topic. Select a clear, manageable topic. Research if needed. Gather facts, data, or evidence. Brainstorm ideas. Use mind maps, lists, or free writing. Outline. Organize your main points in a logical structure. 2. Drafting. Writing the first version. Now you begin putting your ideas into sentences and paragraphs. Focus on getting ideas down, not perfection. Follow your outline but allow flexibility. Don't worry about grammar, spelling, or exact word choice yet. Use transitions to connect ideas. Write from beginning to end, even if it's rough. Process of writing. Revising, improving the content. This is about improving the structure, clarity, and flow. Add, remove, or rearrange parts of the text. Ensure paragraphs have clear topics and support. Strengthen your argument, message, or narrative. Make sure your ideas are fully developed. Focus on clarity and coherence. 4. Editing, polishing language and mechanics. Focuses on correctness and language precision. Fix grammar, punctuation, and spelling errors. Improve sentence structure and word choice. Ensure consistent tone and style. Check formatting, citations, and references if applicable. Publishing or submitting. Depending on the context, this might mean submitting an essay to a teacher, sending an article to an editor, posting on a blog or social media, printing and distributing a final copy. Formal and informal writing. Short story. A short story is a brief work of fiction that focuses on a single event or theme, usually with few characters and a clear plot. It is written to entertain, teach a lesson, or share a moment in a character's life. Formal and informal writing. Short story. Feature formal writing, informal writing. Tone serious, professional, conversational, friendly. Vocabulary advanced, standard English slang, contractions, everyday language. Grammar strict grammar rules followed, flexible grammar, can break rules for style. Purpose in stories used in literary or academic stories used in stories with casual, humorous, or realistic tone. Examples in use: he was deeply troubled by the incident. He was kinda freaked out by what happened. Formal and informal writing short story. 5 important elements of a short story. Characters: the people, animals, or beings in the story. Usually few in number. One main character, protagonist, is often central. Setting: where and when the story takes place. Can include time period, location, and environment. Plot: the sequence of events in the story. Usually follows this structure. Introduction, rising action, climax, falling action, conclusion. Formal and informal writing short story. Summary table. Topic key points. Formal informal writing tone, language, grammar depends on story type and audience. 5 elements: characters, setting, plot, conflict, theme. Major characteristics: short, focused, few characters, structured plot. Importance for children: language, morals, imagination, reading habits. प्रिय विद्यार्थियों, कृपया इन वीडियो का लिंक अपने सभी मित्रों और सहपाठियों के साथ साझा करें। धन्यवाद।